Hello, welcome back to Statman Dave Clips. Today we're going to be answering the question, can Lukaku and Tuchel start Chelsea's greatest ever era? Guys, these videos are brought to you with the guys at SofaScore. Go and check them out. There's a link in the description below. Top quality app. We're using it for all of our analysis on this channel. But anyway, guys, it's time to dive in. So first and foremost, when we are looking at Chelsea and their greatest era, we've probably got to pick out an era so far that I believe is their greatest. That started with Jose Mourinho and ended up with their first European Cup. Between 2004 and 2012, Chelsea won 3 Premier Leagues, 4 FA Cups, 2 League Cups, 1 Champions League, a whopping 10 trophies in 7 seasons. The key players during the greatest era for Chelsea so far being Didier Drogba, Frank Lampard and John Terry. Didier Drogba scored 84 goals between the 2005 and 2010 season, same number as Frank Lampard. Lampard also weighed in with 70 assists. Lampard scored 10 plus goals in every season between 2005 and 2010. Talking about goals, talking about not conceding goals, John Terry was a massive heart of this Chelsea team. 25 clean sheets in the 2005 season and ending with 17 in the 2010 season. An unbelievable percentage through his career. This, for me, is the best Chelsea, the start of the best Chelsea generation, ending up, of course, with that first Champions League win. But anyway, guys, we're going to move on to talk about the current Chelsea team and why they could be the greatest generation of all time, with Thomas Tuchel and, of course, with Romelu Lukaku, Mason Mount, and then we're looking potentially at Reece James. So first and foremost, a few stats for you. Since Thomas Tuchel's debut, Chelsea have lost fewer Premier League games and conceded fewer goals than any other side. They've also picked up the second most points in the league since Tuchel joined. The big thing with his first season as Chelsea manager taken over from Frank Lampard was the underperformance of XG, which was a massive 11. But the signing of Romelu Lukaku has massively helped that. Chelsea, of course, won their second European Cup in Porto against Manchester City with a fluid forward line of Mason Mount, Kai Havertz and Timo Werner. Talking Mason Mount, it's very hard to compare the great Frank Lampard with any player in from midfield, but Mason Mount has been absolutely scintillating, being directly involved in 10 plus goals in both of his Premier League seasons so far for Chelsea. But more importantly, it was massive in this Champions League run and assisted the Kai Havertz goal in the final with a fantastic through ball, creates chances, works hard, play makes. He's kind of the perfect player for Chelsea right now, coming through the academy. Has got all the attributes to be a real Chelsea great. Talking of Chelsea greats, one player that's been at Chelsea for one spell, then came back later on, Romelu Lukaku. Lukaku, his second spell at the club, currently scored 4 goals in 4 games. 47 goals and 12 assists across 2 seasons in Serie A, being directly involved in a goal every 99 minutes. Shows that this rate is probably not going to slow down. When we obviously compare Lukaku to the great Didier Drogba, Drogba was more of a raw player that Chelsea would play around. They'd play those balls up to the top. Drogba would bring players into play and then finish off moves. Lukaku has definitely evolved that, and I think his performance against Arsenal in the Premier League kind of showcased that ability for Lukaku to receive defeat and bully defenders like Didier Drogba did. And I think when we look at those two players and compare them to the previous in the generation, Lukaku and Mason Mount could be at Chelsea for a number of seasons to come. And I think when we're looking and we're comparing these types of, these teams and these setups, both sides, the era from 2004 up to 2012, but also the era now has quality youth prospects. We're talking youth prospects, the likes of Andres Christensen's come through the academy, Reece James, Mason Mount, but also when we look down the Chelsea bench, Trevor Chalobah's had a great start to the season as well. Ben Chilwell's obviously not a youth player, but an English player recruited in, similar to maybe the signing of an Ashley Cole, but also Callum Hudson-Odoi through the academy, a top quality prospect going forward. So I think the interesting side with Chelsea, obviously that Chelsea team tactically was absolutely fantastic, and I feel like this Chelsea team is kind of going a similar way in the sense of the fluidity that Thomas Tuchel's sides play with, the wing backs that provide so much in the final third, and obviously a very solid base at the back with a back three to control the tempo and the sort of the performances of certain individuals. I think from Thomas Tuchel's, Chelsea, there's an identity there. Chelsea under Jose Mourinho that kick-started that kind of generation and that era was very much Jose Mourinho's, he planted the seeds in a sense. I think Chelsea are doing something very, very similar with Thomas Tuchel. Play a very possession-based, 3-4-3 at times that sometimes looks like a 3-5-2 when Mason Mount drops in. But with the sort of the firepower of Romelu Lukaku, Kai Havertz in there, and the width that Reece James and Ben Chilwell gives the team, Chelsea are definitely due a league title in the coming years. For me, it comes down to longevity, and the average age in their Premier League games this season is 26.8, but it will come down further as Ben Chilwell and Reece James establish themselves in the starting points, and Callum Hudson-Odoi becomes, into the picture, be it as an attacker, as a wing-back, however we're looking at. The big thing with that, obviously, Chelsea in terms of the league title is the next thing. If they want to be as good as the era of Didier Drogba, as Frank Lampard, as John Terry, it's all about Chelsea taking that next step in the league and becoming a super dominant side. And how things are going down with the academy, elite manager, it looks pretty decent for Chelsea going forward. When we take into consideration how fluid and flexible they could be going forward, how they could, open teams up, and how the team might grow together. We talk a lot about the future of Chelsea. We have the likes of Hudson-Odoi coming in. Christian Pulisic is still such a young player and could be very adaptable in what position he plays. And I do feel for Chelsea going forward, it's kind of that offensive play that we might see more and more, the Thomas Tuchel sides really break to and kind of push forward. And with Chelsea's academy, producing players, like the likes of Conor Gallagher, that could come back to Chelsea and do a really good job, performing supremely well as a goal-scoring midfielder, a little bit like that Frank Lampard. I feel like Chelsea are, the league titles are going to come, and that puts them into contention. Going back to the initial point, the greatest era for me for Chelsea, 2004 to 2012, Jose Mourinho to that Champions League. The 3 Premier League titles in that time is what Thomas Tuchel needs to be aiming at next, is creating a platform for, the likes of Reece James, Hudson-Odoi, Mason Mount to really take this team and push it forward and become the greatest. Because I think there's real potential in this side. I don't think we've seen, the attacking fluidity as much. And I think with the base that Jose built at Chelsea and that kind of the sort of the attitude that was built on from that, great managers came in post Jose. But it feels like Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea is very kind of like that positional game that's very, very popular. Obviously, a lot of top German coaches at the moment, the likes of Hansi Flick, Julian Nagelsmann, Thomas Tuchel, amongst Jurgen Klopp in the Premier League, they've got the correct type of manager. And if they can build on that and evolve, this Chelsea team is going to go very, very far. The start of it, the foundations are there. What they need now is the trophies. They've got their first big honour in the Champions League. Now it's time for them to kind of push forward in the league, push forward in Europe again and start to dominate. And I really believe this Chelsea team, it's difficult to beat, showcased by that kind of like collective identity that they showed against Liverpool. A man down, but still fighting for the entire game and coming out with a point. The quality of Chelsea's system means that even with a man down, they can rotate the team, go back to the back 5, focus on ball retention and get the ball forward. And I feel with Thomas Tuchel's side, not only are they good at beating the weaker teams, but they're also good at beating these stronger sides or getting a result away at Liverpool, which is exactly what you want to do at the moment in the Premier League. And I feel like this Chelsea team going forward could be the greatest generation of all time. But let me know, guys, in the comments below whether you think this could be the greatest team. Comparing the great Didier Drogba, Frank Lampard and John Terry to the likes of maybe a Reece James who could really come alive as an attacking wing-back. We've seen his performances this season and the width that he provides on that right. Got Mason Mount's creativity that he showed against Real Madrid, showed against Man City in that final, but also the goals of Romelu Lukaku. Probably a different player to Drogba. Maybe more a pure goal scorer in a sense. If Lukaku scores a career average of 16 league goals per season across the next 5 years, he'll have a whopping 193 Premier League goals, which currently only Alan Shearer and Wayne Rooney have more than that. Chelsea, the future is bright. Thanks for watching, guys. If you are new round here, please hit that subscribe button. And of course, check out SofaScore in the link in the description below. And as well, get into the comments. Could this be Chelsea's greatest ever era? Let me know. I've been Statman Dave. See you later.